When someone asks me what's the best smartphone that balances performance, design, and camera in a price point that won't break your bank, there's one brand, well, technically two, that I always mention, and that is the Xiaomi and Redmi smartphones. But with a slew of new contenders and big boy brands trying to perfect the formula that Xiaomi started, will the Redmi Note 9 Pro still have that star factor and the standard to be the best mid-range phone in the pack? Well, we'll find out the answer in this video. Hi, my name is James from Tech M.N.O, and for over a month of extensive experience with this device, I can now give you the honest opinion for this very popular phone. Without further ado, this is the Redmi Note 9 Pro review. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you will never miss a brand new video. And we are over 700 subscribers on our YouTube channel. Check my social media accounts for updates, and our next goal is 800 subscribers for our giveaway. So if you want to win our amazing prizes, click the link in the description or in the card popping right now. In this review, I will have a different approach to give you analysis for this phone. I will answer some of the questions that people ask me all the time when it comes to choosing or buying a smartphone, just like an FAQ type of review. Sounds good? Okay, let's start the review with the first question. Is the screen big on my hand? The answer is yes. At 6.67-inch IPS LCD display with a 20:9 aspect ratio, it's already in the huge phone size category. Even if my hands are medium size, I am still trying to stretch out my thumb at the other side of the phone. So if you want to have a compact phone as your daily driver, this is already out of your radar immediately. Is the display good and bright enough? Yes, the IPS display is good with the right amount of sharpness and contrast with great colors for an LCD. It is HDR10 compliant, meaning if you're watching YouTube videos, you'll get a wider range in colors. Just don't expect to have a deeper blacks and no backlighting on the display selfie cutout, and the refresh rate is only at 60Hz, not the smooth 90 or 120Hz. The brightness is good in its price range, but not great. According to GSM Arena's test, it can go up to 600 nits when the auto brightness is turned on, so you can text and scroll your crush's Instagram page while walking on a hot, sunny day. Is the build of the phone sturdy enough? Well, the answer is a yes and no. Let me explain. Yes, the front and back glass is made from Gorilla Glass 5, which is more resistant to drops compared to the previous generations. That's according to Corning. Quick segue, the colors of the Redmi Note 9 Pro are astonishing, just like the previous generations. The color that I have is in Glacier White, which has nice grading effect when you hit it by the light. But you can pick other colors like Tropical Green or Interstellar Gray instead if white isn't your jam. Now, here's the no part. Even though the front and back panel is made from glass, which is slippery AF by the way, the frame is plastic. It may be helpful to avoid dents in the long run, but it may bend easily when you put it on the back pocket or you accidentally sit on a chair, so you have to be careful in it, or just buy a case that's sturdy enough to prevent it, like the Rika Fusion X that I'm using. You can check the card right now or the link in the description if you want to know more. Does it have Google Apps, and is the software easy to use? The Redmi Note 9 Pro has the latest Android 10 software with MIUI 11 on top, with Google Apps pre-installed for the global ROM. However, in my opinion, the user interface of the Xiaomi or Redmi is hard to swallow at first, but I'm trying to sink it slowly but surely. I will admit, I came from a non-vanilla Android UI, but my previous phone has less clutter on settings and has streamlined features that feels like I'm using an Android skin as Google intended to be. What I can't swallow is that Xiaomi decided to put some bloatware and some ads to it. Thankfully, there are no ads on the settings, but I just wish they've tried to minimize it soon. But it's just my own preference, and maybe it will differ from yours. Is the phone have smooth performance from casual to heavy usage including gaming? The answer is yes. The Redmi Note 9 Pro has the Qualcomm Snapdragon 720G, paired with 6GB of RAM and either 64 or 120 gigs of storage and a microSD card slot thanks to its triple card tray. Day-to-day usage like texting, surfing the web, checking the social media apps, and watching videos on YouTube is a breeze, and in terms of gaming, the phone can handle a lot of games from casual to heavy game titles that I throw on it. I have a separate gaming test for the Redmi Note 9 Pro by the way that I will link in the card or the video description below too. Can the battery last over a day? Well, yes, but it depends on your usage. The Note 9 Pro has a beefy 5020 mAh battery capacity, and alongside with the battery-efficient processor, you can achieve great screen-on-time numbers. On my average day-to-day usage as a medium to heavy user, that consists of scrolling through social media, watching hours and hours of YouTube videos, and an ample amount of time to play heavy games with a constant Wi-Fi connection and 50% of brightness, I can squeeze out at least 9 to 10 hours of screen-on-time. If I use a data connection, it will shrink down to about 7 to 8 hours. However, when I use it heavily, like using the cameras to shoot videos in straight, the battery will last for about 6 to 7 hours on average with or without internet connection. Does the phone have fast charge features? Yes, and I mean hell yeah. You can charge the phone from dead battery to full charge in more or less than 100 minutes using the 33-watt turbocharged adapter and cable, but the Redmi Note 9 Pro only maxes out at 30-watt charging though. But a quick tip, please take care of your cable or adapter because as of this writing, there's no option to buy a spare cable and adapter on third-party brands because it will charge only at 18 watts if the phone detects that the charger or cable isn't compatible of the turbocharged state. Are the 4 cameras of the phone great for stills and videos? To be honest, the back cameras are great in its price range, but technically, only 2 of them are quite usable. It consists of a 64-megapixel Samsung ISOCELL lens, an 8-megapixel ultra-wide camera, 5-megapixel macro camera, and a 2-megapixel depth sensor. The image quality of the main sensor that saves at the pixel bin 16-megapixel by default are great in the mid-range category. I'm no color science expert on the photos, but what I can say is that the detail is good with accurate colors and great dynamic range. You can actually use the 64-megapixel mode on the camera app, but don't expect great results on it, plus it eats up a big file size. So stick with 16-megapixel. There's a 2x zoom option here, but it's only a zoom out version of the main camera, so it's just the same output. 8-megapixel ultra-wide camera has a good photo results with the right amount of detail on some shots that I took. There's no problem with distortion of the photos when I took of it. The macro shot is meh at some point, and the depth sensor gives good to very good background blurring. On night shots, I can only say is always use a night mode and it's only available on the main lens and though not on the ultra-wide. Video recording on the cameras are not the same on all lenses. The main camera can shoot up to 4K 30 frames per second and Full HD at either 60 or 30 FPS, while the ultra-wide and macro lens can record only at 1080p at 30 frames per second. The 4K resolution on the main lens is good but not great. The 1080p ones, however, are great in its price range whether you go on 30 or 60 FPS. Electronic Image Stabilization or EIS is available on the main and ultra-wide cameras, but it maxes out at only Full HD 30 frames per second. The 16-megapixel selfies are great at its price range. It has good contrast and colors, but some of the time, the selfies are not sharp on my liking, but in portrait mode, there's some great background blurring and subject separation. Now it's time for quick-fire specs that we call Fast Facts. Here we go. Does the Note 9 Pro have a headphone jack? Yes, does it have a 3.5mm jack, and it also has an NFC chip and an IR blaster for TVs and other appliances. It also has a dual-band Wi-Fi support, Bluetooth 5.0, and a side-mounted fingerprint scanner which is responsive to unlock, but is quite sensitive if you accidentally place your finger to the scanner. Does this phone will have a MIUI 12 update? Yes, and I will have a separate video about it very soon. And finally, does the Redmi Note 9 Pro have 5G data connection? The answer is no. The Snapdragon 720G doesn't have a 5G modem support, so the phone doesn't have that too. And the final question I got when people are asking when buying a phone, does the phone specs worth it at its price? Well, the Redmi Note 9 Pro gives excellent specs and features for its given price point. Big screen, high-performance chipset, an ample amount of RAM for gaming and heavy use, super long battery life and fast charging, and a great cameras, all for a very affordable price. However, it lacks a 90 or even 120Hz refresh rate screen, an AMOLED panel, and even a 5G connection that the other brands and even their other sub-brand Poco offer that either on the same price or much cheaper. But if that three things I've mentioned doesn't bother you on finding your desired phone and you can leave it, then the Redmi Note 9 Pro is the best phone for you. This proves that the Redmi Note series is still a gold standard when it comes to providing smartphones with great specs at honest prices. And no doubt that this is a very popular product of Xiaomi and Redmi this 2020, except their confusing naming scheme. If you're interested in buying the Redmi Note 9 Pro, it currently sells here in the Philippines at 11,990 pesos for the 664 variant and 12,990 pesos for the 6GB 128GB configuration. It's also available in the US and in Europe that you can see on the screen right now. If you want to check out my unboxing video for the phone, I will link it below or in the card that pops right now. And that concludes our video for today. If you did enjoy this video, again, don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit that notification bell. If you have any questions and suggestions, drop it in the comment section down below. And share this to your friends so that the algorithm will suggest this video to more people worldwide. And for more of the tech that you need to know, follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts at M.N.O. Again, my name is James, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one.